You're listening to Thom Hartmann. Visit thomhartmann.com for audio and video archive.
Mark Taylor-Canfield in Seattle. Hey, Mark, what's on your mind today?
Hey, Tom. May 3rd was World Press Freedom Day as designated by the United Nations.
Indeed.
So as executive director for Democracy Watch News, I participated in an international conference sponsored by UNESCO, where we heard from all sorts of media executives and government officials and NGOs about threats to press freedom around the world, which is a threat to democracy whenever there's a threat to journalism.
Press freedom is the cornerstone of democracy. It's the foundation of democracy.
Absolutely. And it turns out that besides an increasing number of authoritarian states cracking down on journalism, hacking has also become a major problem. So digital media is an issue. But 7 reporters have been killed in Ukraine. 27 reporters and media workers have been killed globally. And worldwide, there are 479 media workers and journalists currently in prison. Also, reporters with reporters.
These numbers are all so far this year, you mean?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Reporters Without Borders just released their World Press Freedom Index rankings for 2022, and the United States is ranked 42nd in the world in terms of press freedom, behind countries like Burkina Faso in Africa, Costa Rica, which is ranked at number 8 and has a very good tradition of protecting freedom of the press. China is ranked 175 out of 180. Russia is ranked 155th. But our ranking in the 40s is due to the fact, and this is RWB, a direct quote from the report, many popular outlets in the United States are owned by a small handful of wealthy individuals. In a diverse global media landscape, local news has declined significantly in recent years. The disinformation affecting American society has created an atmosphere where citizens no longer know who to trust. Online harassment, particularly towards women and minorities, is also a serious issue. Yeah. By the way, Norway, Denmark, and Sweden are at the top 3, as usual. But we have a lot of work to do here in this country, Tom. And as executive director for a nonprofit, I can tell you that one of the hopes, one of the best hopes we have to change the media landscape are these new nonprofit news organizations that are popping up. If they can get the grant funding and public support they deserve. One great example is Documented, which is a great group in New York of people covering news that affects immigrants, so Immigration News Service. Some of the new nonprofits are focusing on news that affect indigenous people and other underrepresented populations. So there are some good signs on the horizon, good things coming. It's just a matter of whether we can set up funding sources for these kinds of nonprofits, since the profit system owned by corporate interests has become very, biased and limited, and it's a very narrow perspective.
The other big issue, Mark, that doesn't get anything close to the ink that it should is the role of private equity in all this.
Oh, yes.
I mean, when Mitt Romney's private equity company bought up Clear Channel, for example, it was the beginning of the end. And, and you've just seen it over and over and over again, radio and television stations, newspapers being acquired by these private equity organizations that then just drain all the blood out of them and leave them as empty shells.
Also, I've talked to billionaires like Tom Sayers about this. The progressives really need to fund their own media because the right wing is great at it. They're really good. They can swing elections that way. And you're right. Clear Channel bought up 880 radio stations across the country at one point. I think now they own about 1,200. So talk about media monopolies. There you go.
Yeah. Although it's not Clear Channel any longer because they got bankrupted because of Mitt Romney's venture capital company or private equity company. Mark Taylor-Canfield, thank you, Mark. Always great talking with you.
Tom.
It's 10 minutes before the hour. We'll be right back. Hey, I've got a new book out. It's called The Hidden History of Big Brother in America, How the Death of Privacy and the Rise of Surveillance Threaten Us and Our Democracy. Available wherever you find fine books.